So we'll start a little bit about the month, but the truth is that the best dialogue is when there's a dialogue, when there's two people thinking, two people discussing. There's something special about a class, but there's something very special about questions, about people asking questions. It's very deep. So we'll talk a little bit concepts, but try to, then we'll open for questions. Questions is the real, because sometimes you could speak about something and where a person could be holding in a different place, in a deep place. We see that the whole way of Am Yisrael transferring the Emunah from generation to generation is through questions and answers. The night that symbolizes the night of Emunah is Leil Seder, the night of Pesach. And we say it with the family, and the kids ask, Ma nishtana? The kids ask questions. Why is it different? How is it different? Because in every generation, the creator of the world reveals himself in a deeper way. Dor ledor yeshabach ma'asecha, u'gvorotecha yagidu. Rabbi Nachman ben Yosef teaches that in every generation, in every next generation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the world is more refined and more refined, more elevated and more elevated. So every generation has deeper questions, because every generation has deeper answers that they have to hear. They have deeper Torah that they have to reveal. So it's very important not to only, to also listen, to receive the Torah from Har Sinai, but to also know that there's questions. In every generation, there's, how does godliness fit into this generation? How does it fit into this generation? And by the generation asking the godliness the questions and getting the answers, they're bringing godliness into that generation. There's a way to serve Hashem right now, different and unique than there was before. There's a way to reveal the beauty of our King in a different way than there was before. In every generation it changes. And the person asks himself always, how could I reveal godliness? How could I? How could I? So I think maybe we'll learn a little Zohar, maybe a little something far out a little bit, maybe a little scary, because it's good to get emotional, but then we'll bring it home as Hashem. We'll learn a Zohar, not from this week's parasha here, but from the Parashat Balak, in a couple of weeks, Parashat Balak. And the Torah is, even though we have parashot, that means that in this week we read this parasha and the next week we read this parasha, but the Torah is really speaking to every Jew every time, all the times. So it's always relevant. So we're going to learn a little bit of Zohar in Parashat Balak. That the Zohar discusses who was Bil'am, who was Balak, what happened there a little bit. And we're going to learn a story now that seems a little futuristic, but at the end we're going to try to bring it into our Avodat Hashem. How do we serve Hashem with this story? Because the Torah is not just teaching us what was, it's teaching us how do I connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at any given time. So even though we learn things that seem to be not relevant to right now my life, but in everything there's a teaching. The Zohar, when the Zohar starts teaching, it starts with the words Tachazi, come and see. The Zohar is a book of opening the eyes, opening the vision. Out of all the senses that we have, the sense of sight and the sense of hearing, two very dominant senses. The Gemara, when a person learns Gemara, the Gemara says Tashma, come and hear. When the Zohar says come and see. It's interesting that we use these terms also, like if I say I hear what you're saying, right? Or I see what you're saying. That we're aware that we have a higher sight and a higher hearing, but they're different. The Zohar is Tachazi. When Am Yisrael left Mitzrayim, I'm translating in English, Bil'am was one of the advisors of Paro. And Bil'am heard that all of his conspiracies to lock Israel in Mitzrayim didn't work. That means that keeping the nation of Am Yisrael in Mitzrayim wasn't just a matter of putting a fence around the country. There was spiritual forces that were involved in not allowing any slave to ever escape Egypt. The Gemara says that no slave ever escaped Egypt. There was like a spiritual wall around it. You couldn't leave that culture. You couldn't leave that. You were sucked into it. You were in it. So Bil'am, he was designing the wall around Mitzrayim. He was building this force that kept people in Egypt. And when the nation of Israel left Egypt, so Bil'am said, what's going on here? He He said, everything that I didn't work. He started tearing his hair out, ripping his hair out, and scratching himself, bleeding, like being upset, like horrible. And he went to the dark mountains. The dark mountains, because we're going to get into a very interesting topic now. What happens in these dark mountains? When a person gets to these dark mountains, when they get to the head of these mountains, there are two angels. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world, this is when He creates the world, there are angels of din, there are angels of absolute justice or din, that they object to the creation of man. And these voices that object the creation of man tell the Creator, why create man? If you create man, man will fail you. He won't listen to you. This is a voice that exists in the heavens. This is like an opposition to creation. Like ultimate justice says, don't give man this free will. Man will fail. These two angels that assume this position of this claim, these two angels, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them and put them into this world, and He put them in a very dark place. These angels have the word Azazel, right? The word that we say Azazel is actually a combination of these two names of these two angels. This word divided into two would be the names of these two angels. One of these angels, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, these angels were thrown down, so to speak, from their position in heaven into this world. When they were put into this world, they were not put into this world loose, they were put in chains in a certain place. That's where they are. In the dark mountains, that's where they are. We're going to see soon, this is not only a geographic place, this is a spiritual place that a person visits. So Bil'am HaRasha goes to visit this dark place where these two angels are locked in. And as soon as the first angel sees him, he tells a sign to the second angel. And right away, he does a voice. And from this voice, he causes many snakes. Many snakes, but not regular snakes, snakes of fire. That means that these are powers of din. And they right away surround him. These powers send out a little animal. This animal is called Onumita. And the Zohar explains, what does it look like? V'tana, kemin shun rahi, it looks like a cat. And it has a head like a snake, with two tails, with very small hands and very small feet. The second a person sees this animal, he gets frightened. And in order to have a relationship with this animal, Bil'am would bring a ktoret, an incense that was made out of one chicken, a white chicken. This is the incense that this Bil'am brings to this animal that's coming to invite him into this zone. He gives it to her, and then he walks blindly. He closes his eyes and he walks after this animal. He follows this animal till he reaches these chains, these very deep chains that are stuck in the ground, very deep place in the ground, till the tehom, till the deep depths of the ground. And when he reaches these chains, he hits these chains 3 times. And these angels call him in, and then he bows down on his knees and he walks with his eyes closed in this place till he reaches them. All these snakes are surrounding him the whole time, walking with him as he enters this zone from both sides. And when he gets to this place where these angels are, he opens his eyes. The second he sees them, he gets frightened, totally scared, and he falls on his face and he bows down to them. He accepts them. Then they teach him black magic. Charshin v'kosmin. They teach him all kinds of ways to curse, to damage, to do evil. How to bring evil into the world. He sits by them 50 days. 50 days he sits in this dark place. That's where Bil'am went, 50 days. And when his time to leave, after he studied everything there is to study in 50 days, he leaves and the same animal walks him out with all the same snakes. They all escort him out till he goes out of these dark mountains. It's amazing to see that spiritual levels are not attained in one day, in 1 minute. On either sides. Bil'am HaRasha, who was a counter to Moshe Rabbeinu, that means whatever Moshe Rabbeinu was in Kedusha, Bil'am was in the Klippa. He was a Navi and the Klippa. And to reach these levels, it was a deep investment in a relationship with spirits. That means that we are all in relationships with spirits, all of us here. We're all in spiritual relationships. Spiritual relationships are not something that happens in one day, in 1 minute. These are deep processes because the body that we're in, the experience that we're in right now, is very, 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 very far from the truth. Very, very far from the truth. And in order for a person to journey towards the truth, it's not a journey that comes in 1 day and in 1 minute. There's no magic to this. It's a journey that comes with precision, with time. Now the mitzvot that seem to be, some of them make a lot of sense. Like kabed et avicha v'timecha, lo tignov, right? You have to have a culture, you have to have a society, you have to have economy. There's mitzvot that don't make any sense at all. The mitzvot that don't make any sense at all teach us that the mitzvot that do make sense, we don't do them because we understand them. We do them because they are mitzvot. That means that there's a formula of unity. I mean, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, if we could say this, the creator of the world, God is not God just because by chance he's God. Whatever the creator is, he deserves, so to speak, what he is. He is what he is. He's not by chance what he is. Whatever he is, this is what he is. And the mitzvot are, each mitzvah seems to be a particular standalone thing. But the entire mitzvot are one relationship that man has with his creator. And this requires patience, because in this world we're experiencing the reality day by day, experience by experience, not just in 1 second experience everything. And the creator of the world puts us first in a very low place. We're babies, we're born needy, we're born receiving. And then slowly, our process to get to know our creator is a slow process. It's a process of becoming. Not something that happens in 1 day. One of the most inclusive mitzvot that we have is the mitzvah of tefillah, mitzvah of prayer. Mitzvah of tefillah, even though it's machloket, if it's the oraita or the rabbanan, what is it exactly, is not just a mitzvah that's a standalone mitzvah. That's a mitzvah that brings up all of my mitzvot. When a person has a good prayer, that means they have a good relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not just that right now, these 5 minutes, these 10 minutes, I feel good. That in these minutes, I'm able to bring up my whole entire experience and speak about everything to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with him. The mitzvah of tefillah is a very, very deep mitzvah. It's the pnimiyut of the mitzvot. But every mitzvah that we do is one evar, one body part of becoming God. It's all a process of becoming God. It's step by step, step by step. And in order to feel this, to feel the spirituality of mitzvot, this is again through tefillah, through a person taking time to feel, where am I in my journey, in my relationship with the Creator. So there's things that I do. I light the Shabbat candles, I give Tzedaka, I do tefillah, I do all kinds of mitzvot. But the person to take time to realize that life is a journey of becoming more similar to my Creator. The mitzvot that we do because we understand are fantastic. But the mitzvot that we do that we don't understand are even, in a certain sense, even higher. Because the secret of the Torah is Naase and Nishma. There's no such thing as doing things without understanding them. Even if you don't understand it now. If you Naase, if you do it, then eventually you'll get the Nishma. You'll hear it. One of the things that we could do for each other in this generation is encourage each other to do mitzvot. Because mitzvot is not natural. If it's the cool thing to do mitzvot, then it feels popular, it feels cool. How does something become popular? When everyone does it. Yeah. We have to make the mitzvot popular, make it cool. It seems to be so cool to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But really, after you go through life, you see that to have meaning in life is so amazing. If you do whatever you want, that's great, but do you get the meaning? Sometimes going through the hard things, doing things that we don't understand, doing things that are bigger than us, it gets us out of ourselves. Some questions about mitzvot. Let's talk about mitzvot. What do you guys think about mitzvot?
Too many mitzvot.
It reminds me, when I started playing guitar, so you look at the neck, you think like, wow, like all this is the guitar? How could a person know all of this? When you learn to play guitar, you say like, that's it? This is the neck? Like there's no room. You want to like, right, that's true. The mitzvot, if you look at them as particulars, as individuals, as many. But if you look at your life as a relationship with the Creator, then these are all details of the relationship. In a certain sense, it's really about maturity. It's looking at the world through an immature way, is just looking at the world through good and bad and Gan Eden and Gehenom, religious, not religious. It's true, but it's a child way.
Yes.
When you go through life, you see like what's life? Like you have friends pass away, people are born. You start realizing life is more than making money and having a business. It's like we're coming from somewhere, we're going somewhere. There's a journey. The decision to be involved in my relationship with the Creator. That's the decision. So there's the general part of that decision, and there's the particulars. The general part is saying, Borei Olam, I believe you, I trust you. I'm with you, and I understand that you made a way of life, way of mitzvot. I understand that we're living in very dark times. I understand that maybe I didn't see the truth. Maybe religion showed things that in ways that are too religious and not relationship. Right, there could be. But coming to the Creator of the world and saying, I want my relationship with you. And I understand that there's details to this relationship. And I want you to teach me these details to the right way. Show me the right way to look at these details. Show me the right way to keep Shabbat, to put on tefillin, to keep kasher. So the general feeling should be a involvement in the relationship with my Creator. I am the creation, He's my Creator, and I love Him and He loves me. And I understand that I'm created to be in a relationship with Him. And then asking Him to help me have patience or understanding for the details of the relationship. And understand that, and understand how every part is good for me. And in some parts we have to have humility. There's so much humility that's necessary.
But how can you have a relation, not just praying? How you pray to have that relation? Just pray with the book, with the ¿cómo se dice el libro? The book, the Sidur, and that's it.
The Emunah, right? The Emunah, which is the soul of the prayer, is your relationship with the Creator and your trust in Him and your dialogue with Him. That Emunah is not blind faith. We're not expecting anyone to just believe in something that he doesn't understand. We're Jews. We're smart people. We can't do that. Impossible.
Right.
The Emunah by us is built on emet. That means I'll give you an example in the business world. Let's say that right now, I gave this example today, we're talking today. Let's say right now, I sell you merchandise every month for $10,000. That's our deal. Every month, 10,000. Years we go on, we're friends. Then we meet after a couple of years, you say, listen, I want to up my account with you, $1 million. I say, oh, that's a big jump. But I trust you. We have a couple of years and the 10,000s. I know your personality. I see how you are. I know how you pay. I trust you on the $1 million. I can't guarantee the $1 million. Yeah. No one can guarantee. Maybe you can't deliver that, but I trust you. So that means that that's not blind faith. Our emunah with Hashem, that ability to take that leap, that jump into the bigger numbers, comes from our relationship in the smaller numbers. So everyone has a relationship, and focusing on that relationship will show you that you are in a relationship. You're in it. You don't have to create it. You're in it.
But you have to build this emunah, or the emunah you just go blind.
You have to focus on the emet, and the more emet you have, the more emunah you'll be able to have.
Okay, so you have to build the emet. The
emet is how much godliness you know. You know, that's knowledge. Knowledge, that's a relationship.
It's knowledge. You're born with that.
Right, but not born with it. This is today at the level of where you are, there's a certain part of awareness of God that you could say, I know. There's a certain, not I believe, there's parts that you could say, I know, and therefore I believe. Because I know, because I have this trust, I could now do things that I don't know. Because how do I do things that I don't know? Why would I do them? Because I believe. Why do I believe? Because I know. Okay? So the knowledge of Torah, when a person studies the Torah and the mitzvot, this gives them a knowledge of Hashem. When we have a relationship with Hashem, it gives us yedi'ah. I know that there's Hashem. I know there's a creator to the world. He's involved in my life. I walk with him every day. We have a past. We have a history. Now, because we have this history, because we have this relationship, I'm able to extend myself further than my knowledge and even do things that I normally couldn't do because I have Emunah. So our Emunah is that, and our emet grows, and based on that, our Emunah grows. The more your trust grows, the more your emet grows, the more your Emunah grows. So there's a level in Torah and mitzvot that you're going to get to emet, and that level will give you the ability to live in the life of Emunah.
The foundation of Emunah is studying, knowing.
Yes, it's being in emet, yes.
If you see Hashem in everything, you have Emunah.
Right, so then there's Emunah, even after Emunah, there's another level, bitachon. So when you know that it didn't go the way you like, you know that it went the way he likes. So if I tell myself that if I trust that he's in control, then I rather his decision than my decision.
That's the tough side.
That's called bitachon. Bitachon, which is trust, that's the next level. Because if I tell you, my friend, fall back, I'm behind you, I'm receiving you. Close your eyes and just fall back now. I'll grab you, you won't fall. Emunah is in the head, but falling back is bitachon. So then, based on that emunah, you're going to have a bitachon, you have a life, the decisions that you're going to make based on that emunah. So we come from, this is amazing, very nice, right? So we have this, we see a very nice pattern, how the emunah is really built, how the trust in Hashem is built. It's built, the beginning of it is through emet, through learning Torah, through having experience of emet, through understanding the things that you could understand, that your mind could understand, and then knowing that the Creator is going to expand me beyond my understanding of Him. Because definitely my understanding of Him was just my understanding right now. It's definitely more.
It's what you want to understand.
Right now, it's what I'm able to understand right now. But it's definitely more.
Of course.
In general, when a person experiences one specific difficulty in one specific area, that means that that's where their sensitivity is. In a certain sense, that's where their tikkun is. That's where they are bumping into God, so to speak. Like in that specific zone. That means that we're all born imperfect. The Creator creates us imperfect. This is the design. To want perfection, to strive to perfection, to reach perfection, to achieve perfection. But in this journey, everyone's holding in different places. So you know where you are in your particular journey based on your particular hardships in your life. So the Gaon of Vilna teaches that if a person wants to know where is tikkun, what's my tikkun? So we'll see where you're getting the most, that's the most attention, where you're having the most difficulty. Why is it? Ask yourself, why is it? So ask yourself, why is it that in this particular mitzvah, I'm finding a hardship? Why am I not able to surrender my ego to God in this mitzvah? Why is it that I can't accept that the Creator is the King? I can accept Him in other things. But in this, so that means that in that particular area, my ego is very strong. My sense of being is very strong, and that's where I need to go into that place and ask the Creator of the world, heal me from that place. To go in and to realize the Creator of the world that I can't. The Gemara says in Sukkah, every day the Yetzer Hara has a new conspiracy how to kill a person. If it's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu that helps you, it's impossible. That means that when a person discovers a darkness inside themselves, don't run away from that darkness. Run into it and pray from there. It's interesting, in the old Batei Knesset, in Prague, in the old shuls, even in Tzfat, in one of the old shuls, where the Chazan stands, it's actually a ditch in the ground. It's like a step down. So you could really have Mima'amakim Ka'aticha Hashem. So you could call Hashem from a lower place. The Gemara says that a person shouldn't stand in a high place and pray. They should stand in a low place and pray. But in a deeper way, it doesn't just mean geographically, don't stand on the roof, stand on the valley. It means that inside of you, if you want to pray, don't go to your high places, because your high places, what are they going to ask for? What could they ask for? Go into your low places. Oh, from there you could cry. From there you could miss. From there you could want. That's the Mima'amakim Ka'aticha Hashem. So when a person experiences a difficulty in his life, he shouldn't say, wow, this is not only my nisayon, but that he should make his place of nisayon, he should make that his place of tefillah. That's where he's koveh makom letfilato, in that place. Saying, the creator of the world, I'm going to use this opportunity that you gave me, this place of lacking, this place of chisaron, of darkness that you put me in. I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to request you, I'm going to want you from this place. Just as a person is aware of sometimes his challenging points, it's important to equally be aware of your benefit points and your giving points. Because you're right, you can't just be aware only of that. There's also something very unique and special about you that doesn't exist in anyone. Every human being should know that there's something unique in him, a unique revelation of something godly that doesn't exist in any other creature, only in him. And also finding that is connected to your tikkun, using your God-gifted, the talents, the gifts that Hashem gave you. So in all the mitzvot, we're becoming in dvekut with Hashem, we're getting close to Hashem. We'll take one specific mitzvah just to take one practical something. Mitzvah of tzedakah, there's a very interesting meditation that the Zohar brings on the mitzvah of tzedakah that could be used, you could use it every day when you give tzedakah. And it invites you to a different inner dimension of what this mitzvah is. Because the mitzvah of tzedakah is a very important mitzvah, giving something to the needy, it's no question about it. But in a deep way, the entire creation is tzedakah. The entire creation.
Why?
Because the Creator doesn't have to give anything to anyone. The will of the...
Tzedakah?
Of course.
How?
Oh, so let's do the meditation and our world, and then we'll go back to the Creator's way. So the Zohar Kadosh teaches that when a person holds a coin or whatever, the money that you're holding, we're going to look at that as the letter Yud. That's the letter Yud. And that's the giving. The Yud symbolizes the Creator revealing Himself in a full revelation of 10 Sfirot, revealing in Himself in a full revelation that the creation could appreciate and contain Him. That's full revelation of Himself. This revelation this Yud goes into a Hey, the letter Hey. The letter Hey symbolizes the hand that's, in the sense, the 5 fingers that are holding the coin. And the letter Vav in Hashem's name is the extension. The extension Vav is also, the letter Vav is Vav HaChibur. You say, Ani olech letzfat ve'le-Yerushalayim ve'le-Haifa ve. Vav is the addition, it connects. Vav HaChibur, the Vav connects.
Next.
So that's what I'm looking at the coin now. I'm holding the coin with my 5 fingers. Then I'm extending my arm out. And then the receiving hand is the final Hey in Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. So when a person is doing this act of tzedakah, they are doing an act that resembles the Creator Himself. I mean, the Creator Himself, so to speak, extends Himself out of His place of unity, out of His place of comfort zone, and to our understanding, so to speak. To give a coin, to give a 10 sfirot, to give a revelation, from Chokhmah to Binah, it's a whole process. Then from there into Da'at, then to Zir Anpin, and from there into Malchut. So this is one mitzvah that a person could feel in a practical way, the like becoming Yud Kei Vav Kei, like really mamash going in the ways of Hashem, because Hashem is a giver, He's an ultimate giver, and here I'm able to emulate Hashem's way, mamash. I'm able to do something that Hashem does. I'm able to take a coin, which is the shefa that I have in my essence that Hashem gave me. I'm able to take my hand, which is the giving hand. I'm able to take my arm, which is the extended arm to give. And it's unbelievable.
The equation is tzedakah or chesed.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
Ki amarti olam chesed yibaneh. And chesed and tzedakah are definitely, if you don't know, that means they're very
Hashem
interrelated.
makes the word because He has chesed, or for the to make the universe. It's chesed, or it's like you say tzedakah.
Tov. It's midat tov la'ativ. The Borei Olam is tov. That's what He is. And miderech tov la'ativ, the way of the good is to give good. And from this way of good to give good, then He creates the world. So the Gemara says, very good what you're saying, the Gemara says in Sukkah also, different tzedakah and chesed, that tzedakah is only la'ani'im. You could only give tzedakah to a poor. Even halachically, you can't give tzedakah to a rich. A rich person cannot receive tzedakah. But chesed is la'ani'im ve'la'ashirim. Chesed is no difference. A rich person needs a hug, a rich person needs a friend, and a rich person needs someone to listen to, just like everything else. Sometimes even more than a regular person, because they're in a place of isolation sometimes. When you are giving tzedakah, you're choosing to go in the ways of your Creator. It's not about taking you to a different dimension, but that makes you, that activates the godliness in you. That makes your whole animal soul is agreeing with you're right now doing a godly act with your whole being. So your selfish animal soul is not behaving in its natural way, which is self-centered, egotistical. It's behaving in a godly way. It's influenced by your neshama. It's decided to act in a higher way. It's giving. It's extending himself to others. It's being. That's how God behaves. It's not how a selfish creature behaves. So really, all the mitzvot are acts of transformation. We brought the mitzvah of tzedakah. It's like an easier way to see it. Like tzedakah is a real, like a person's a giver. They're different than a receiver. It's totally different. For example, the mitzvah of Shabbat. Shabbat has so many details. You can't do this, you can't do this, with the muktzeh, with the plata, with the, right? You're traumatized from it? The Lametet Melachot, 39 prohibitions, 39 categories of things that we can do. But in the essence of Shabbat, what is Shabbat? In the deeper way of Shabbat. Me'en olam haba. It's a day that a person is not involved in the struggle of this world, of him and his animal. It's a day that a person could spend time with his essence, with his purpose, with his future, with his soul, with his nation, with his Torah. So why is it that the 39 melachot? I'm allowed to, if I want, take this chair, this table, and do like this the whole Shabbat, walk with it on my head. The whole Shabbat, I'm allowed to. But I can't turn on the switch, the light. Can't. Why? Why? What's the big deal? What makes something allowed on Shabbat or not allowed on Shabbat? The number 39, very interesting number. We find in the Torah in the 39 lashes, 39 malkot. Not such a happy event, but a person that commits a certain sin, and the sin, the consequence of this behavior is that he receives 39 lashes. The number 39 lashes, these number 39 is the same number that Adam HaRishon and Chava and the snake, that they received in this, when they did the chet of Adam HaRishon, they received Lametet Melachot. The Lametet lashes are called Lametet Malkot. Mem Lamed Kuf. Malkot with a Kuf. Melachot is with a Chaf. That means that these 39 processes that man has to be involved in right now are a punishment that was given to man because of his sin. That means that if it weren't for man's sin, that we would not have to do any of these things. That means that the reason today you have to go through 10 or 11 processes to eat bread, why isn't bread growing on trees? The answer is bread did grow on trees. At the beginning of time, bread grew on the tree straight. Why should bread not grow on a tree? An animal eats its bread right away. Why do I have to go through a whole year to make bread as crazy? It's a whole year of work just to make one loaf of bread. So much work. This work is this product of man's complication, of man's sin. That means that when man sins, man brings into the world 39 types of complication, 39 types of mixing up. And therefore, man has to now be involved in 39 types of fixing. There are 39 types of melachot that have to do with man now. It does have 39 punishments. Work is a punishment. No one likes to work. Your nature likes to relax. Work is not natural. Relaxation is natural.
Yes.
Work is a process. It's a punishment.
We can only fix it in Shabbat.
So on Shabbat, so these 39 melachot, where does Chazal learn them from? From the Mishkan. The Mishkan was the dwelling place of Hashem, where Hashem says, Asuli Mishkan v'shachanti betocham. This Mishkan, in order to create this Mishkan, it was necessary to do exactly 39 types of processes, 39 types of melachot. Because these 39 types of fixing would bring back the revelation of Hashem, of the Shekhinah, into the world. So therefore, on Shabbat, that man is not experiencing. On Shabbat, man is not meant to experience the broken world. We're not meant to fix the world on Shabbat. On Shabbat, man is meant to experience Olam Haba, a fixed world. So on Shabbat, we go into a place where there are no melachot. We're going into Olam Haba, into a world where everything is complete. On Shabbat, all your food is ready. On Shabbat, your bread grows on a tree. So therefore, on Shabbat, we refrain from doing these exact 39 types of work that bring godly light into the world. Because Shabbat is not a time to bring godly light into the world. Shabbat is a time to rejoice with the godly light that exists in the world, that we brought into the world. And if a person on Shabbat is still bringing light in, that means they're not doing anything. They're not rejoicing with the light. 6 days a week we bring in the light, and 1 day a week we rejoice with the light. Then on that day we refrain from doing any of these 39 processes that are a punishment to the world. That's how man has to bring God into the world. On Shabbat we don't bring God into the world, we enjoy God's presence. You understood this, Nekuda?
Yes.
So this is very particular. It's not to the human being to decide what's like you were saying, in the olden days it was a lot of work, today it's not a lot of work. It doesn't make a difference how much work it is. Because I'm allowed to do things that are a lot of work these days. I could decide the entire Shabbat that me and you are going to take this couch, as heavy as it is, and hold it on and walk around the entire room. We could do it. We're allowed to. Even though it's very hard work. Not a problem. You could, it's not a problem. It's not, but to turn on the switch, because even the melacha of boneh, whatever electricity is, whether it's a machloket in the poskim, the prohibition of electricity, is it fire or is it closing circuits, which is tolada of boneh, building? Electricity, like you were saying with lead, is not fire anymore. It's circuits. It's completing circuits. Completing circuits is also a type of work. That's a melacha of boneh, of building. Building and destroying, demolition and construction are both prohibited on Shabbat. Because on Shabbat we're not supposed to be involved in building or we're demolishing for the purpose of building. Shabbat is a time that I'm meant to enjoy and rejoice with my relationship with God. Just like Olam Haba. It's a me'en Olam Haba, it's a micro Olam Haba. So you're right, in our generation the halakha is faced with a lot of challenges because some things are so easy and so this, but halachically they could be in the term of that. You're right. That's right. So by us it's not about how we perceive the experience. It's about what is this experience? If this melacha, if I'm right now building a circuit, that means that if during the week I would build a circuit, I'm actually doing a favor to the world. Because I'm doing a melacha, that melacha will now allow godliness to rest into the world. But on Shabbat, any of those processes will destroy. Shabbat is a time, it's a dimension, it's an era that man is meant to experience those and rejoice with those processes, not to further on. So even the smallest process that's wrong will be wrong. So a Shabbat elevator, you could have, if it's okayed by the Machon Shabbat, that it's refrigerators. Refrigerators, you know what the problem refrigerators are on Shabbat? Today refrigerators are more sophisticated than the robots. What? Also the Shabbat ones are sophisticated. They come because the thermostats, there's so many variables in the refrigerator today. The technology is crazy. So in the Shabbat, when you put the oven in Shabbat mode, that means that you accept it upon yourself not to do any of these 39 processes that have to do with fixing the world. You are now in a zone of enjoying and the benefit of the joy of the world. You're not fixing the world. 6 days is fixing. Shabbat is onek Shabbat. And you're right, a lot of things don't make any sense. And that's in general. If you think you're going to run your life by common sense in general is a myth. It should be called uncommon sense because it's very not common. We can't run the world by our decisions. That's what we say. The beauty of Yahadut, the beauty of Am Yisrael is Naase v'Nishma. Naase v'Nishma is such a deep concept. You think for an intelligent nation to say Naase v'Nishma, what kind of an intelligent nation would say such a thing? Sign the contract before you read the details. What are you, nuts? Who does such a thing? You would do such a thing over Yahweh? Never. Sign the bottom before you read the... What are you? You know what you're getting into? This is who we are.
But Naase v'Nishma is at the same time, correct? You do and you learn. You do and you learn.
Interesting. That's actually
all in Naase.
Right. So actually, it's very interesting the point that you're bringing because Naase v'Nishma was the third reply of Am Yisrael. The first time they said Naase, just Naase. The second time only Naase, and the third time they said Naase v'Nishma. So Naase v'Nishma, actually Rabbi Nachman speaks about this. The many Sefer Hasidut speaks about this. Is that Naase v'Nishma is a lifestyle, and Naase is the present, and Nishma is the future. So that means that I do something now that I don't understand. I have a trust. And based on this trust, I'm able to go out of my comfort zone and go above my trust. Very nice.
Sorry, why is not Nishma v'Naase?
So because Naase means that Am Yisrael, when did Am Yisrael say Naase v'Nishma? After Kriyat Yamsuf. They had a relationship with God. It wasn't blind. They went through a relationship. They experienced the Makot. They experienced Yamsuf. They experienced Moshe. They knew that there's something here. They're not talking to the wall. But this leap that he was asking him to do now was like, whoa. It's like, will you marry me? It's a very scary question, right? You could date someone. That's knowledge. But will you marry me? That's Naase v'Nishma. That's very deep. That's Naase. So now the Naase
should be like Nishma v'Naase. It's like what you do every day. You listen and then you do. You don't do before you listen.
Well, when you wake up in the morning,
Sometimes you do.
Naase. You're right today. You're right that your Naase of today. The first thing you do is you do. That she's right. The first thing is Naase. But you're right that the Naase of today comes from the Nishma of yesterday.
Yes.
Exactly. So to start the wheel turning was Kriyat Yamsuf and Yetziat Mitzrayim. That gave the Am Yisrael the Emunah. Exactly. The Emunah gave them the koach to say the words Naase. And the Naase, now you have to have patience to get to the Nishma. And the Nishma will bring you to a higher level of Naase. And then you'll hear the Nishma of that level. And that will bring you to a higher level of Naase. Okay. That's how it is. It's a relationship. It's a relationship.
It's like a will.
Naase and Nishma. Naase means I will do. Nishma means I will hear, I'll listen, I'll know.
I'm open to learn.
No, not I'm open to learn. Naase means that I'm committing. Nishma means that this is something that will happen to me. I will hear, I'll know. I know that the Creator will not keep me in the dark my whole life. I know that the Creator is not expecting me to live a life of darkness. I know that this is the dance of life. I know that the Creator shows me Himself, and then He gives me the opportunity to choose Him. And then and then once that level is done, then He'll show me Himself and give me an opportunity to choose Him and to become Him. Naase v'Nishma.
So it's more important action over intellect. That is a message of that of Naase and Nishma.
And what that's true, the Naase. But what your husband was saying was true, is that your Naase will only be as real as the Nishma that you had before that. Because how are you going to get to this level of Naase? From what? There has to be the first level of relationship.
The first step, it has to be action.
So we're already in the first step. The first step happened. That's why we live Zecher L'Yetziat Mitzrayim. Our base of our commitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Yetziat Mitzrayim. In Yetziat Mitzrayim, you showed us, you gave us Emunah, and we all experienced it. And from that Emunah, we're still going on this journey of Naase and Nishma. From that Emunah, we already said Naase, and we received the Torah. And then we already heard that. And then we received higher levels, and we heard that. And we're going on from that. So that was like the starter of the dough. Like if you have like a sourdough. So like the starter was Yetziat Mitzrayim. But then from then, you're just like,
Feed it again.
but again, just take the same dough, more Naase and more Nishma, more Naase and more Nishma. That gets you from level to level. Once you're in the cycle, so what it looks like is, this is what it looks like. Naase, Nishma, Naase, Nishma, Naase, Nishma, Naase, Nishma, Naase, Nishma. It's like binary code. Like what's first, what's second. You don't know what came first. You're walking in the middle. Black, white, yes, no, up, down, up. The same thing. But if we look back to the beginning of it, where it started, we understand where it started from a deep relationship that our nation had with our Creator. Deep. You didn't ask us for any credit. He gave us everything up front. He gave us the makot, he gave us Yetziat Yamsuf. Everyone saw, there was no levels. Even a maidservant on the ocean saw the highest level of the Merkava. Everyone, he gave everyone. Forwarded a spiritual, mass prophecy. The first experience of Am Yisrael together was mass prophecy. Babies, the Gemara says, Ubarim b'mei imam amu shira. A baby is still in his womb, before he's born, singing shira. No level, they're born, not born. You're here. That was our relationship of the first love, our first love that we had with Hashem. Yetziat Mitzrayim. And from there, we're on a journey of Naase, of saying, okay, Creator, I trust you this much, but now I'm going to go to the next level. And after a while, I say, Creator, okay, I see that this level, you're with me. I'm going to go to the next level. This gives me the security.
What happened to Am Yisrael? As you said, we're in love with you, and then, okay, give us everything. He made Kriyat Yam Suf, we go through, and then what happened? Why the Am Yisrael just like, they don't care about anything? They started with the Chet HaEgel, and they started like doing things like the Meraglim, and it was like, okay, now you see God, you are in the level, you went into that level, and you said, I love you, and then just go back and say, whatever, okay, what happened? What happened there? Where we break that, I don't know, to call it like this vessel?
Very deep, very deep. The whole Geulah of Mitzrayim is very deep. Because the Geulah happens in stages. Geulat Mitzrayim was the first stage of the Geulah. And that was really done very fast, b'chipazon, in an immature way. The final Geulah, the Geulah that we're waiting for, is a Geulah that's not going to be in a rush. It's going to be slowly, a Geulah of understanding. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them out on this level that they weren't mature yet, the nation wasn't mature yet. I mean, it's definitely on purpose that he took them out on this level. So he took us out for free, but then he gives every person the ability to say Naase v'Nishma. It's still every person has this bechira to say Naase v'Nishma. Look, as a nation, Hashem takes us out, but every individual is in a becoming. Every individual is in a journey. While Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, in Yetziat Mitzrayim, during Yetziat Mitzrayim, as they're going through the Mitzrayim, some people had with them idols. Pislo Shel Micha over Imam. We're walking with Avodah Zarah in Kriyat Yam Suf. That means that even HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives this amazing revelation, this amazing love. The mechanism of life, the pnimiut of life is the bechira of the individual to say Naase v'Nishma, Creator of the world. You showed a revelation to everyone. Kiryat Yamsuf, everyone received, but not everyone behaved in the same way afterwards. Some people said Naase v'nishma, some people didn't say. Not everyone said Naase v'nishma.
Okay.
Naase v'nishma is an attitude of Am Yisrael. The Erev Rav didn't say Naase v'nishma. You see that there was many problems. They weren't accepting the word of Hashem. They weren't. The Geulat Mitzrayim was a premature Geulah. It was a Geulah with Erev Rav, was a Geulah where Am Yisrael was not yet, where there's still a lot of refining and a lot of sifting and a lot of process afterwards. And that's all the processes that happen afterwards are still, there's 4 Geulot that happen after Mitzrayim. 4. We still went to Madai and Bavel, Yavan, Edom. That means that the Creator can show a great experience to everyone. But that experience doesn't take away your free will. You still have free will to choose. Right? You'd think, wow, if you saw Hashem. No. People saw and they forgot. It's a person that sees that says, wait, no, I'm staying here. I want to stay with him. Naase, I'm not moving with this relationship. Even though right now he's moving far from me, I'm staying. This is my life. This is my relationship. So he reveals himself to you. Of course, when he reveals himself to you, you're in love and you're with him. There's no question. Everyone's with him. But then he distances himself. And some run after. They run. Naase v'nishma, no, Creator, I'm trusting. I know that you didn't leave. They run after him and wow, they have another amazing experience. And then he leaves them again. And this, the Baal Shem Tov explains, is like a father that teaches his son to walk. That his father, right, the baby stands up. I don't know how many people remember here the first time we taught our kids to walk. You remember, you're right, he's standing. You're so excited. He's finally standing. He's falling. Okay, he's standing. And then he's walking. He takes his first step. Whoa, amazing. Takes his second step. What does the father do? He moves back. Now, what's happening in the perspective of the child? The child is thinking, what's going on here? There's a lot of things that can happen in the perspective of the child. But we know what's happening on the outside is the father is just encouraging movement. He's encouraging, building the space that creates the motion for the child to move forward. Because we're developing, we're human beings, we're becoming, we're here to develop. So he says, okay, I'm going to reveal myself to you. Okay, now Naase. Now let's go. Now I'm moving back. I'm standing up. Okay, let's go, come. Oh, you get there. Oh, it's amazing. It feels so good. Just when it feels so good, the father moves back one more step. And the baby's crying, what's happening? But we know this is how a baby learns to walk. This is how we learn to walk. Naase v'nishma, Naase v'nishma. Right. So we know that he's never moving away. He's creating space for our growth. He's hiding himself from us to give us place for our growth. Because if everything is hidden, everything is open, everything is obvious.
The problem is we see what we want to see. We don't see. We seek Him. We seek God as we want, like what we want to seek. It's not like seeking Him like
right. That's not Naase v'nishma. That's Nishma v'Naase.
Okay.
That means that when the nations of the world, it's very interesting. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to the nations of the world and told them, you want the Torah, they said something that makes a lot of sense. What does it say in the Torah? Like, why is that such a bad question? Do you want to receive these 613 laws? Like, can I read them? Can I just see what it says in there? It's not for you. It's not for you. It's like there's some stores you walk in. If you ask for the price, my friend, this is the wrong store for you. It's not for you. People that ask for prices don't walk into these stores. Understand? There's a level, if after everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to us, if he comes to us and says, do you want the Torah? And we ask him, what does it say in it? What does it show to us? What does it mean? That means that everything that happened till now was nothing. It was nothing. I didn't take it into heart. I don't really believe that I'm in a relationship with you. Because I'm still questioning you. What are your terms? What are your conditions? We're not in a relationship. This is not a relationship. It makes so much sense to ask this question. What does it say in the Torah? But that question rejects that rejects the whole Torah, because the Torah is built on a relationship. That means that if you're asking this question, you don't have a relationship. If I'm doubting your motives, that means that we're not in a relationship. You're coming to me right now to sign a deal and I'm doubting your motives. That means, are you my friend or you're my enemy? This is not the deal. Right? We can't sign a deal on those terms. It doesn't work. If I gave you all my love and I showed you myself and I exposed myself to you and then when I come to give the deal to you, you ask me, what's the deal? That means you missed the point. Because we're in love. And there should be that level of emet that gives me that security to do that emunah, to take that receiving. And that Naase, that's what Naase Nishma is exactly the formula. When they said Naase Nishma, Kadosh Baruch Hu said, who taught my kids this secret? This is the biggest secret of the world. The first do and then see, the first do and then hear, that can only come from absolute trust. Absolute trust. So that means failure to Naase Nishma is not just failure in mitzvot. That means where's my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why is my relationship with Him that I'm doubting Him, that I'm still questioning Him? I don't have a Yetziat Mitzrayim. We don't like that. We have a Yetziat Mitzrayim is my whole basis of Naase Nishma. And Naase Nishma is the only journey. Because if I only do what my mind understands, that's where you're going to stay, in your mind. If you want to get out of your comfort zone, you need something outside of you to expand you out of yourself, to grow. You can never grow more than your own vessels. You could reach perfection in your own vessels. You could take all your talents and maximize them, but to be more than yourself, that's something outside of you that has to expand you more than yourself. That's Naase Nishma. That means Naase means I'm going to reach my capacity, and then Nishma, that means I'll be expanded to more. And when we spend time in Hitbodedut, when a person spends time in Tefillah, is to tell the Creator of the world, please help me have a relationship with you that I could reach Naase Nishma. That I could have such a emet, that I could have such a knowledge of you, such a truth of you. Of course, not the ultimate, but I want to have a base of truth. That from that base, I'll be able to go a little higher and out of my comfort zone, to trust you, to break out of my own mind, to go higher.
Rav, I have a question. If the Tefillah is the base of the relationship with God, if a woman is not married or the children are grown up, you're going to answer, no, women doesn't need to do Tefillah. So how you, as a woman, how you make this relationship if you don't have this obligation of make Tefillah?
It's interesting. Rav Pinkus, Alav Hashalom, Rav Shimshon Raphael Pinkus, Alav Hashalom, once they asked him, or he said once, that to give a sidur to a woman, to give her a sidur is an insult. You're insulting her. Why? Because a woman is always praying. What do you mean? The mitzvot of a woman is tefillah. It's kisufim. It's wanting. It's tefillah. Even though, right, so there's the formal tefillot, shacharit, mincha, aravit, that a woman that is obligated in the home, chachamim exempt her from the tefillot, of all, a woman she's patur from all mitzvot, aseh she'azvan grama. A woman is not obligated because she's... However, tefillah d'oraita, tefillah from the Torah, is for a man or for a woman. It's the same thing. That means that a person should find time in their day to address their relationship with their Creator, recognizing the good that the Creator is giving to them, speaking to Him about the things that you need. Speaking to Him about the things that you need is actually, that's the relationship. That's why, the reason we have needs is to have a relationship. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells the Nachash, after he does his sin, after he causes the man to sin and to die, what's his punishment? Wherever you go, you're going to eat dust. Dust. So that seems to be that's not a punishment, that's great. Wherever you go, there's food. How is that a punishment? The answer is, you'll have food everywhere. You'll never have to daven to me. You'll never have to ask me for anything. There's no relationship. Take the credit card, we're not, see you later.
So easy.
So that's the biggest curse. So the tefillah that we have, the needs that we have are actually the opportunity that we have to get in a relationship with Hashem. That's why we all have needs. We have needs in order to connect us to Him, to each other. So the tefillah d'oraita is when a person stands in front of Hashem and say, Creator of the world, I am acknowledging that my life is one platform of a relationship with you. My whole life. My wife, my kids, my life, my business, my plans. It's a relationship with you. I have some knowledge of you. I have some wisdom of you. And there's parts of you that I don't know yet in this relationship. Parts of you that I don't trust yet, maybe. But what I want is that this this relationship, this truth that I have of you, should give me the koach to say, Naase and Nishma. To give me the koach to say, we have a relationship. I trust you to some level. We can move on one more step in our commitment. We can move on one more step in our relationship because we have a steady base. And after that step becomes real to you, after you get the Nishma, after you hear and you understand why that was so necessary, and you say, wow, עכשיו אני מבין, עכשיו אני שומע. Now it's time to go to another Naase, a little higher, a little more out of your comfort zone, a little more trust. Now you have more trust. It's a relationship. The reason that I was learning the Zohar with you guys, one of the reasons is to show you that even in the dark side, even in the person that reaches to be a wizard, to be a very... It depends on relationships. You have relationships with spirits. You make commitments to be a merkava, to be a vessel for these spirits to manifest, to live in, and to act through. Entire growth of spirituality is based on spiritual relationships. And what are we relating to? And our whole sense of avodat Hashem, of Torah and mitzvot, is going to be of how deep and intimate and real is our relationship with Hashem, of our understanding of life. That's going to be the basis of our entire service of Hashem. Those are details of that trust, of that relationship.
And it's a long process.
No one knows. How long is life? No one knows.
Well, I mean, the process of knowing Hashem.
Lo alecha melacha ligmor. The process is only to make the right decision and to go in the right direction. Never think of the journey. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you a long life. May you be able to do the journey. But our life is not in our hands for us to make life decisions. Life is a gift from Hashem that gives us every minute. Our choice is to choose that He's my King and this is the way. I could choose the right things to be connected to.
But maybe when you're born with that, when you're born with that spirituality and the family and everything, but if you're born in a family apart from, it's a tough work daily.
So that's a fantastic question. You're saying if you're born religious versus born not. So that's interesting that there's an advantage and disadvantage to both of them. A person that's born secular, take it, with no meaning, no life, everything is good. One day,
No question. No question.
maybe during the day, but at night there's questions. Of course there's questions.
More or less.
Less. So what, right? So when they discover meaning, they won the lottery. Now the flip side, that's the advantage of a person that comes from the outside, like a Baal Tshuva. Because you come from no meaning and suddenly, woof, you discover everything has ultimate meaning and life is fantastic, like everything's on steroids. Then you have a person that was born religious. Now being born religious seems to be an advantage. You speak Ivrit, or Lashon HaKodesh, you taught from a young age, the mitzvot, this or that. And that's the advantage really of being born religious. The flip side of this is being born into habit and not being inspired. A person that found HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that found Torah, he's in love. He came from a place of darkness to light. A person that...
That's what I say, it's much work.
So the truth is that it's probably more difficult to be born religious and to reach inspiration.
The Baal Teshuvah also wants habit, also wants consistency.
The Baal Tshuva is coming from, is making a life of conscious choice towards his creator, is choosing, he's excited, he's alive. He's going from no meaning to meaning, from dark to light. Unbelievable. For a person that grew up religious and got used to the cycle of religion, for him to find meaning in service of Hashem is very difficult. Very more difficult than a Baal Tshuva. Because habit puts you to sleep. You put on tefillin every day, sleeping. Shema, you could fall asleep. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev teaches us that a person could be sleeping for 70 years. That means his entire life. How does a person sleep his entire life?
Not conscious.
You're living habit. There's no decision, no choice, no love, no act, you never choose. So there's challenges on both.
Even though we live unconscious. We actually live unconscious.
Unconscious?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We don't live conscious of what is happening. We have to see creation all the time. We don't see creation all the time. So we live unconscious.
Right. The animal soul lives unconscious and the godly soul lives conscious. And the times that you have consciousness is the time that you're thinking from your godly soul. And the times that you feel like there's no consciousness is the time that you're just existing in your animal soul.
Okay, so I think that most of people just live in their animal soul. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I see.
I don't know.
When I go to my office, I go into my car, and I walk in my office. I don't remember the way I came. I just drove unconscious.
Rabbi Naftali Rav Avshi.
Remember the way, because if not, you get lost.
No, it's automatic.
It's automatic.
But it's unconscious. It's not conscious.
What you're saying is very true. Rabbi Naftali Rav Avshi, one of the biggest tzaddikim, says millions of people live like cats and die like cats.
Yes.
He says, how much I have to make sure that I won't be one of them. You're right. Most of the world lives unconscious lives. Living a conscious life is an effort, it's a decision, it's a choice to make. Not just once in your life, okay, I'm going to live a conscious life. No. Every minute. The consciousness is a flow. It's a flow.
Even if you're religious or secular, I think you live like unconscious. Is like you need to pay attention to what you're doing. You need to be conscious of what you're doing. It's like
correct.
It's very difficult to do that.
No, it's not difficult. It's impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible.
It's impossible.
I want to tell you something. I started with this meditation thing, one app in the mobile, and the guy that is talking says, okay, from tomorrow, you need to every time when you're sitting, every time when you want to stand up, you have to say before that, I'm going to stand up. Till today, I haven't reached that. There's no way I want to stand up. I'm going to say I'm going to stand up and then I stand up. You just do it automatic. It's like you're not.
But this journey from automatic to conscious is a journey of a lifetime. It's a journey in many parts of your life. It's to go from living a life of habit of animal to living a life of conscious. I am choosing to act because I want to act. Because this is driven from me. Not just...
We also want to be in good habits that are automatic. Like I see people that do mitzvot with a good habit and people that have good habits and
it is important to train the habit. We say shetargilenu b'toratecha, to bring the regilut into the Torah. But it's very important to always stay in the place of consciousness, in the place of choice, not to do things in the place of sleeping. So if you can't do it all day, you can tell yourself before in the morning that I'm going to live a busy life right now today. I'm not living, having attention of everything. But everything that I'm doing in order to connect to Hashem, and I'm doing it in order for my general consciousness is upward, and I know why I'm living. I know the direction of my life is forward. I may not be able to be conscious of every particular in the general, but in general, I'm conscious of my life. So start that in the morning, saying I'm living a conscious life, I'm deciding my life, I'm proactive about my life, I'm listening to Hashem, I'm doing the mitzvot. During the day, try to remember these things as you're doing them. But this will take time. But this journey from a unconscious life to a conscious life is a fantastic journey. It's a journey of going from my immature self to my mature self. It's a journey that's impossible. That's the reason I said it's impossible to win is because that's what the Gemara says, that it's impossible for a person to win his own, to uplift his own animal. Only if HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps him. Only if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Gemara says. So, as long as you're still walking with the illusion that I can, then you'll walk with disappointment that I didn't and I didn't. But when you realize that I can't, really that's the truth. But I want, I'm not giving up. Not that I can't and therefore I'm giving up. I can't, but he could. And therefore I'm for sure I'm not giving up. If he could, I'm not giving up. I'm going to ask him more and more and more. And I'm going to go more and more and more efforts, the creator of the world. I don't want to live an animalistic, basic, natural life. I want to live a conscious, alive life of choices, of choosing you, of choosing my friends, of choosing my decisions, of choosing the things in my life, choosing the actions that I want, the actions that I don't want. And if you're journeying towards it, you're going to get there for sure. Because you can't get there. Because he will get you there. As long as you think it's up to you, there's nowhere, you're stuck. When you realize you can't,
it's never up to you.
And he could, then let him do it. Our job is to want and to stay in the right direction, to constantly choose, say, Creator, I want you. I want to live a conscious life, an elevated life, a life of closeness to you, to make choices. And he'll help you get there. Okay, wow. Just to remember, Jack, it's very important to remember. A lot of serious energy, a lot of serious people in the room. Everyone's serving Hashem, everyone wants to be good. Remember to always never take yourself too seriously. Take it easy on yourself. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's important. Enjoy the journey. Take it easy on yourself. We're good. Life is good. Hashem is good. People are good. Life is good. Choose the right direction. Thank Hashem that He gives you the zchut to choose the right direction. And remember, getting there is impossible by us. Impossible. What we could do is constantly choose the right thing. Our choice is our ratzon. It's our decision, it's our conviction that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are my king, and the Torah and the mitzvot are my way, and that's the way that I'm going, and that's the way that I'm journeying, this is my life. I'm journeying out of my animal soul. I want to become less angry, less egotistical, less natural, and more highly, more godly. This is my journey. How am I going to get there? I have no idea. That's up to you. But I'm constantly choosing you. And then molichin oto. Molichin means they take him. You need siyata dishmaya. Hashem will take you. Someday it will happen. One day you'll get there and you'll say, how did I get there? I don't know how I got there. Very important to listen to music a lot. To dance. Jack. Very important to dance. It's very important to dance. Got you in trouble? 4 dancers? Oh, wow. When a person dances, it's a decision that a person makes in his mind. It's very interesting. We dance, we lift up our feet. Like, how does that work? I'm so happy, I'm going to lift up my feet. How does this work? That means that when I realize my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's my source of my happiness. When I trust Him so much, I allow the feelings of trust, not just to be in my mind, to allow it to be in my body, to allow it to be in my whole being. When I allow them to be in me so much till they reach my feet, then you know you're in a good place. When you could jump, when you could be a kid, when you know that everything's okay. When you allow that awareness to be not just in your mind, really. So the awareness travels through our body, through our nervous system. You could really allow my feet to let go. You could dance. The journey to Hashem is serious, but it's happy. Yivdu et Hashem b'simcha. There should be happiness, there should be music in the house, there should be joy. Person should ask himself, aren't I the most happy? I'm the luckiest person in the world. If I'm journeying towards my Creator, and I'm not just involved in just nothing, wow, I'm lucky, I should dance. So that decision to say, wow, Ashreinu, Hashem, I'm choosing you. Jack, who should dance in the world? Who?
Everybody.
No, a person that makes the right decisions should dance. He has the right to dance. If you're making the wrong decisions and you're dancing, my friend, what are you dancing? You go to the clubs. What are you dancing so much? What are you dancing? What's so good? But when we say, Hashem, you're my king, and I trust you, and I love you, and I know that you love me, v'akol b'seder, and I can allow this feeling to go in me and to allow it to lift up my hands and my heart and my feet. And I know this, I'm allowing this feeling to spread through my emotions, my being. To be happy. Ashreinu she'anachnu mechapsim et Hashem. Ashreinu that we're in this relationship to serve Hashem. What a beautiful place to be in. So of course it's intense and of course it's serious, but remember to bring in the happiness, because if you realize what you're doing, then you should be the happiest person. Because out of all the billions of people in the world, the Creator of the world woke you up and you have a relationship with Him and you're working with Him and He loves you. Wow. That's a life of a winner. You're winning. That's success.